I'm MJ the Illustrator, also known as Mary Jane Works, and welcome to my channel. For today, I'm going to be doing a little Q&A video. I asked all my followers on social media to ask me a question. It doesn't have to be art related, anything you like, and I'm going to answer them now. While I answer them, you can enjoy a speed lapse videos of me drawing. But before we get started, I did want to congratulate Laura Dasnoy for my raffle on Patreon. She's going to be getting my art book and a limited edition print of Widowmaker as well. So thank you, Laura, for supporting me on Patreon. If you want to take part in these raffles, all you have to do is support me. Even just $1 helps a lot, and every single month I raffle off a little gift. So we're gonna start from my Twitter account, and we got one question from Ken Burles, who asked, who is your greatest inspiration? And that's a really tough question because a lot of people inspire me. My greatest inspiration would probably be Obata, and that's because I've watched him draw, and I think that he creates such gorgeous pieces with very simple techniques. My next question comes straight from Patreon from Caleb Knight. Thank you, Caleb, for supporting me on Patreon for such a long time. I really appreciate it. It helps me a bunch. Okay, so this question is, if you could take on a villain from either a show, movie, or even fight a villain figure from a previous client's commission. Oh, I wonder where he's going with that. Who would you fight and who would you want as your allies? Okay, it depends on who the villain is. Assuming he's really powerful, I would have to say that I would want my allies to be... I'd probably want Light Yagami to help me because I think it's the easiest way to defeat the villain using the notebook. But since he's a little bit overpowered, I think I will go with Goku because the guy is extremely powerful and never loses a fight. For your second question, from a client's commission, I'm assuming he's talking about his original character Neptros from his series. To defeat a guy like him, I'm gonna go with King Triton. I mean, they're both mermaids with tridents, so just because it would be kind of entertaining to watch. REM says, how did you get into Death Note? What made you decide to give it a go? Well, oh, that's a tough one because I don't actually remember. When I started watching Death Note, I was, how old was I? 13? I can recall someone recommending it to me, and at the time I was watching like a lot of anime. That's probably the time where I watched most of the anime. What made me continue watching Death Note was probably the opening. Yeah, it was definitely, the art. Stunning. Obata. Beautiful. Lucia Kichikiro asks me 5 questions, and she says, 1. What is your favorite or top favorite art tools? My favorites would absolutely be Copic markers. I love Photoshop as a tool. It's my favorite for digital art. And I'm gonna say watercolor. I mean, I don't use them as often as I do because I'm so lazy to like take them all out, but I really enjoy watercolor. 2. What would your advice be to help someone who's not good with time management to be more efficient with time? Alarm clocks. I said alarm clocks. So, I mean, normally I'm okay with time management, but anytime I find difficulty, I will set an alarm to limit my time on something. If I want to work on a project for an hour, I will set an alarm for that. Sometimes also when I wake up in the morning, I can write a to-do list of what I want to get done that day and stick to that. Also learn to say no, because I always found that things that got in the way of my good time management was people always asking me to do things for them, you know, favors or whatever, or always wanting to talk, and like friends can be very distracting as well. So start learning to say no and prioritizing your schedule over others. What are your inspirations from artists to places? So I already told you my inspirations in terms of artists. Places that inspire me, definitely conventions, but not so much places. I'm kind of a hermit. I like to be indoors all the time. If you had the chance to travel to any 2 places in the world, all expenses paid, where would you go? I wouldn't really want to travel at this time right now because there's a lot of like sketchy stuff going around in the world, but assuming that everything is fine, I would really like to see the pyramids of Giza. And I think I'm tied between California and Australia because I really do want to snorkel in the Great Barrier Reef one day. The reason why I'd be interested in going to California is because of all the hype there. So much stuff happens. And I also have friends there that I wouldn't mind meeting. And last question from Lucia. Favorite Disney movie? If you don't have one favorite, then top 3. Wait, favorite in terms of story or art? Because that's hard to say. Aladdin, Hercules, I absolutely love, and I'm gonna say Tangled. Tangled is really good. We've got a couple more questions coming from Elizabeth Coffin. That's how you say it, right? What's your favorite color? White, and since that's technically a shade and not a color, I'm gonna have to say like teal, aqua bluish. What's one piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to start drawing? Start drawing as in a career? Because if it's a career, my question to that person is this something you're okay with doing every day, all day, for the rest of your life? If the answer is an immediate yes, no hesitations, then do it. Now, to start drawing as a hobby, go nuts. In terms of advice, I would say just draw all the time, like as much as possible. Even if you have art block, try to fight that and just keep drawing all the time. Next question from Elizabeth. What's your next big plan for yourself? I do want to create my next art book. I always talk about my next plan being working on my graphic novel, though I don't want to consider that my next plan because that's something that's long-term, very long-term, like in the future. I mean, I'm working on it now, but it's not going to happen very far into the future. So I'm going to say that my next big plan is just going to be my next con at most. Yeah, all my big plans are very long-term plans, so nothing in the immediate future. Any big personal projects you want to share? I mean, sure. I am working with Zelfa Comics on a comic called Harpy Bardeth. You can buy the sampler actually on their website, which I will also link below. It's basically about a group of harpy brutes who think they're the heroes of their land, but everyone looks at them as the villain. So it's kind of a question on good and evil, justice, kind of like what does it mean to be good, what does it mean to be bad. It's supposed to be really interesting. It's a fantasy genre. I love it. We're currently working on issue 1. We're hoping it's going to be ready by next year in spring, summer-ish. I'm doing everything by myself. I'm doing pencils, ink, color, so I've been working on it for a while now, just on 20 pages, so this is the life. Caroline Rebo asks, what's your secret to creating really fancy life drawing sketches while also being able to handle the fact that the person in front of you is naked? Yeah, I haven't been to life drawing in a little while. Last time I went, like, you kind of get used to it. I remember the first time I ever drew a live nude model was when I was 19, and I would remember I was there in class and the professor was giving a demo, and so I was paying attention to the work that he was doing. And I wasn't paying attention to the model that was currently dressed at the time, but he was stripping down and I didn't notice. So when he was drawing, I remember looking up and then all of a sudden he's just posing completely nude, and like no warning whatsoever. Like they didn't tell us that he was gonna, none of that. So I remember like that was hilarious. It was a shock. It took me a couple sessions to get used to it, but now nudity doesn't even bother me. I see a naked person, I'm just like, it needs to be done. To be a good artist, you have to understand anatomy, so it's just the way it is. Next few questions comes from Rika Bloom. Who's your favorite Rika? Really? My favorite Rika is little Rika from Higurashi, actually. She's so freaking cute. What's your favorite stage of work? Definitely inking. I like inking. I'm not the best at it. What's your favorite photo of Luna? That is impossible to answer. I'll put the picture on screen right now of what I think is the funniest picture of Luna. Gets me laughing every time. Moxie Cat asks, did you ever go through a hard time where you felt your art wasn't good or wasn't good enough? Are you kidding me? That's like the life of every artist that I know, or at least I assume so. Or at least I hope so, because I do not want to be alone there. I'm insecure about my art all the time, all the time. Short Wisdom asks, would you one day do a live co-op draw session with me? I want to say yes or no. I guess it depends on the situation. Ahmed SC26 asks, what medium do you feel most comfortable with, and which artist do you take the most inspiration from? Well, that second one I answered already. Probably more comfortable with colored lead pencils because I'm not as afraid to make a mistake, because if I erase it or like if I go over with another color or something, like they're not too dark. Kinselo asks, who was the first fictional character you had a crush on? Inuyasha. He will always have a special place in my heart. Last question. Alien Shadows asks, what or who is your biggest inspiration? That's what a lot of people want to know, I see. Since everybody wants to know that, I am right now going to put all the pictures of the artists that inspire me regularly. A bunch of different reasons. If you guys are interested in me making another video talking about my inspirations, like every single one, let me know in the comments, and I'll totally will. But that's basically it. So, that was fun, and I hope you enjoyed my time-lapse video as well. If you like these, please consider supporting me on Patreon, please. just because that helps me pay for materials and everything, and it would be like a dream come true if I could actually make enough income to, like, you know, make a living doing these, because they're fun. Also follow my social media, everything is in the description, everything talked about is in the description, and don't forget to check back because I will be doing another mural of Light and Misa, so that's gonna be fun. And have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever it is that you celebrate, all the love in the world, and thank you for watching, and bye!